hearing officer. I hope everyone will find this evening a satisfying process. I'm going to start in reverse order, and we'll start with, first of all, petition number 25P1650, filed by the Gregory L. Husser Trust. Ms. Henkel, is there anything as zoning officer you would like to say about those?
Yes.
That.
With regard to petition 25P1650, we would like to request it be continued to the next regular meeting of the zoning hearing officer, which would be Thursday, August 27th, 2025 at 5:30 p.m.
That's at 5:30, right?
Yes, as Mr. Husser was not able to be present tonight.
Is there anyone present who objects to that request for continuance? Oh, but I should mention the people on Zoom, folks, the folks that are on Zoom are all muted at this end. You will certainly have a chance to participate in the proceedings if you so desire. In order to participate, I will try to remember to call my attention and the courtroom's attention to the Zoom people. And if you would, under the tab at the bottom that says, I think it says participants, and you will find an icon that says raise hand. When you, when it's time for Zoom people to possibly participate and you want to either testify or make a public comment, if you would please find that raise hand icon, and we'll see it on this end, and that's the most effective way to do it. Thank you. Forgot where I was. Hearing no objections to the motion to continue the Gregory L. Husser Trust matter, that is then continued until August 27th at 5:30. In reverse order, going up is petition number 25P1649, filed by the J.W. King Family Limited Partnership. And I understand the petitioner is represented here this evening by Ms. Foker, is that correct? And you may proceed.
We have our proof of service. Thank you. And notice of publication that we've compiled into this binder here. I'd like to present that as petitioner's exhibit number 1.
Please. Yeah. Might as well give it to me. No, thank you. And that exhibit number 1 is the first page is a notice accompanied by an affidavit of service. Then is a description of the property by meets and bounds. Then there is a list of adjoining property owners, a certificate of publication in the Dixon Telegraph. Then we have evidence of certified mailing receipts for those folks in adjoining properties. Does that pretty well describe what you think's in here, Ms. Foker?
It does.
Okay. That's admitted, and you've marked it, so exhibit 1's admitted. And you may, if you wish to give a short opening statement, that's fine. If not, you can launch in.
I would waive, Judge, and then my witness is actually on Zoom, would be Richard King.
If you could unmute him. Did you say King?
Correct.
Mr. King, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
And would you speak for, you're pretty audible in here. If you can keep your voice up, that'll help.
Okay.
All right. Ms. Foker, you may inquire.
Before we get started, I believe he'll need to have his screen up. We'll need to be able to see him if he's testifying.
Oh, I didn't look. Okay. Mr. King, we need you to turn on your
Camera.
video camera.
Okay. Okay, let me see if I can do that.
Somewhere down the bottom tab, you will see video on or video off, I think.
Okay, I do see that. And I clicked on video. Can you see?
There
me?
you are. Whoop, there you are.
All
Okay.
right.
You want to raise your right hand for me? Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you may inquire.
Thank you. Could you please state your name for the record?
Richard King.
And King is K-I-N-G, is that correct?
Yes.
On June 16th of 2025, my office filed an amended petition for map amendment on behalf of the J.W. King Family Limited Partnership, and you are appearing tonight in relation to that amended petition. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can you please explain what your involvement is in relation to the J.W. King Family Limited Partnership?
I am the general partner.
And the partnership is the owner of record of certain real estate commonly known as 1215 Institute Boulevard, Dixon, Lee County, Illinois. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That property consists of 79.22 acres, more or less. Is that correct?
That is correct.
And as it currently stands, the property is zoned as R2 residential district. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
The amended petition that's been filed is seeking to have the Lee County Board approve a map amendment by which the property would be zoned Ag 1 or agricultural district. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Can you tell me why this map amendment is being sought?
Because it's a farm. We farm it. There are 35 acres of timber that the Farm Service had us plant. It's about 40 years into its life cycle. The walnuts will be ready to harvest in about another 40 years. And part of it is in the Conservation Reserve Program, about 33 acres. And I believe that will be in that program until 2032. And then there are some woods around the farmhouse in addition to those two parcels. And so it's been in the family since 1915. It's been farmed consistently since then. And the partnership would like to keep it as a family farm. We're not planning to develop it. We're not planning to sell it. It would not be economically feasible to do so even if we wanted to. There's no sewer, there's no septic. The township doesn't maintain Institute Boulevard. It's just not something that we're interested in doing. So it's appropriate that it should be Ag 1. I don't know why it's residential, but it should be Ag 1.
And you said your family has owned it since 1915, is that correct?
That is correct.
And to the best of your knowledge, from 1915 forward, has the primary use of that property been agricultural use?
Yes, it has.
Have you been involved in that agricultural use yourself?
Yes, I have.
And with that involvement, what involvement did you have with perhaps the generations before you that were farming? How do you know that that's been its use since
Well,
1915?
when I was growing up, my grandfather farmed it and my dad helped him. And then I helped my dad. And we raised soybeans on one half of the field and we rotated the crops and we planted wheat and alfalfa in the other field. and then we would harvest the wheat and we would till the alfalfa under, so the rhizobium bacteria would put nitrogen into the soil and we'd plant soybeans. It's always been an organic farm. My sister thinks it was the first organic farm in the state of Illinois. And we, since 1985, I have been managing the farm, and I was responsible for having the trees planted and for having the land put into the Conservation Reserve Program. We have a prairie planted. We are very interested in maintaining the environmental integrity of the property.
And so at one point it was actually farmed land. You mentioned the wheat and the soybeans, correct?
That is correct.
And so was it in 1985 that you then switched over to the Conservation Reserve Program?
Well, it was around that time, yes.
And what made you make that change?
Well, there wasn't anybody that would farm it organically. And so it was problematic because we didn't want somebody to come in and put chemicals on it. It's landlocked, more or less. It's a small farm. So there aren't a lot of people that were interested in doing it. So I decided that the Conservation Reserve Program would make a lot of sense.
And can you explain to me how the Conservation Reserve Program works?
Well, you agree to set the property aside for a period of time, and you agree to do certain practices. We were required to plant some trees and shrubs. We were required to plant a prairie, and then there's certain things we can't do. We can't mow it at certain times of the year. We can't crop it for hay. We have to maintain it so there aren't noxious weeds, those sorts of things.
You mentioned something along the lines, and forgive me if I mess it up, but I thought you had said something about lawlets.
About what?
I thought you said something about lawlets. 40 years into it, you'd be able to harvest your lawlets? Is that what you had said?
Walnuts. Walnut trees.
Walnuts. Thank you. I was not sure what you were talking about, so that makes a lot more sense. Is that part of the Conservation Reserve Program?
That was a federal program that paid me for a certain period of time in return for planting the trees. So it's not CRP specifically, but it was a federal program supervised by the Farm Service Agency.
Okay. You started discussing different acreage being used for different purposes and mentioned, I think you said 35 acres of timber currently?
Yes.
And then how many acres are actually enrolled in the CRP program?
Approximately 33.
And you mentioned the farmhouse. Is that the only structure on the property?
Yes, it is.
You also mentioned that you don't wish to develop the property. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like that is kind of a prime piece of real estate right there that would be good for development purposes. Why is it that you don't wish to develop it?
Well, I don't think it's economically feasible to begin with, but the reason I don't want to do it is it's a family farm. I don't need the money. The other partners don't need the money. And we would just as soon save it for our grandchildren and their grandchildren.
At this point, the property has been used for agricultural use for approximately 90 years. Is that fair?
Well, my math would say 110, but that is fair.
All right, I can't hear and I can't do math tonight. My apologies. 110 years, and it's your request here tonight that the map amendment be granted to bring the zoning in line with that use. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Do you believe there to be any sort of negative impact to the community with regard to your proposed map amendment?
No, I think there are plenty of places within the city limits that they can infill if they think they need more residents. I think that it's a real treasure to have a wooded area that close to the city that people can enjoy looking at, and that puts oxygen into the air, and it just is I don't think that we need to develop everything just because it's there.
A lot of questions with certain types of map amendments come up with regard to changing a zoning classification with regard to increased noise or increased odors or increased traffic, those types of things. Do you anticipate any of those, what could be conceived as negative changes, coming with your proposed map amendment?
No, I do not.
Would you consider yourself or the property itself in its current use a good neighbor to the surrounding properties?
I most definitely do.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with regard to the property or the map amendment here tonight?
No, I think you've done a very good job of asking me questions. And I would just ask that the board consider.
Well, we'll save public comments till the end. Right now, you're under oath and testifying about facts.
Thank you. I withdraw that.
That's all I have of the witness, Judge.
Questions to this witness? We'll start with you, Ms. Hinkle.
Is there any commercial production of farm products occurring at the property?
No.
Is there any,
Other than the harbor, the trees are a commercial product and they're growing.
okay, and what program are they currently under?
They're not under a specific program at this time. When they were planted, I was given, I was paid for 10 years for planting them. I paid to have them planted. It was a federal program.
Is there any feeding, breeding, and/or management of livestock or poultry, including exotic and farm animals, dairying, fur, bee, and/or fish farming occurring at the property?
No,
Are there any accessory uses customarily incidental to agricultural activities, including but not limited to a farm residence at the property?
there is a farmhouse.
And what defines it as a farmhouse?
Well, it was a wedding present to my grandparents back in 1915, so it's the house that was on the farm.
Is that house currently being used as an Airbnb?
It is.
Is there any growing, developing, processing, conditioning, or selling of hybrid seed corn, seed beans, seed oats, or other farm seeds occurring at the property?
No.
What is the specific farming activity that you're trying to preserve with this zoning change?
Well, I'm trying to preserve the land.
Is the county pursuing you for not being in compliance?
No, not that I'm aware of.
So what is the driving factor behind this petition? What is, why at this point are we trying to rezone to ag?
I was surprised to find out that it was zoned R2. I don't know how it got zoned R2. I looked at the map and it said R2. It's not R2, it should be A1.
Are you familiar with the Lee County Comprehensive Plan?
With the what?
The Lee County Comprehensive Plan.
No, I'm not.
Nothing further.
Ms. Sasser?
No, I don't have any questions.
Folks here in the courtroom. Well, actually, I got one question real quick. Mr. King, I've got my back turned to you and I'm sorry about that. With my neck, it's not easy for me to turn around. If I do my math correctly, after 35 acres of walnut timber, 33 acres of CRP, that leaves about 11 acres. Are those 11 acres all the farmhouse and what yard? Well, let me put a better question. What comprises the missing 11 acres?
Well, it's mainly wooded. There is a significant mowed area where the barnyard was. But last spring I did harvest about 45 mature oak trees off of it and 6 walnuts and I think a few hickories.
If you had to guess, how big a piece does the residence and the barnyard sit on?
That's probably 1 acre.
So the other 10 are this mature trees?
Correct.
Okay, folks in the courtroom who have a question of Mr. King, if you'd raise your hand and I'll try and call on folks in the order you raise your hand. Yes. Thank you. And wait a minute. You need a mic because he can't hear you unless we give you a.
My name's Kathy Lane, Kathy Lane, Lane. Mr. King, isn't it true that just within the last year that there was a lot of trees that were taken down that continue to be in that area that you're stating and have never been removed?
The tops were left and I haven't had those removed yet.
When did you have them removed?
I have not had the tops removed.
Oh, okay. Okay, that's all I have.
Okay. Anyone else in the courtroom? Yep. If you'll hand the microphone back to the lady. Oh, if you can help us out by coming up to the podium using that mic, that'd be great. That's okay. I forgot it's there.
Hello, I'm Angela Miller. I'm at 1200 Institute, directly across from your property.
And would you state your name again for the court reporter?
Angela Miller at 1200 Institute. I have been across from you for 25 years. I've never seen any farming.
That's telling him things. Now's your chance to
whatsoever.
ask him questions. He's under oath,
Yes.
not you.
I've never seen any farming in 25 years. It has been a rental for 25 years.
That's telling him things. Do you have a question of him? And I'm not trying to be
just questioning,
difficult,
Are
but
you planning on putting any livestock on there? I mean, I appreciate that you're trying to preserve.
just
your
ask, you can
property.
only answer one question at a time. I'll help you by,
Are you
Mr.
putting
King, are you
livestock on it?
planning to put any livestock on the property?
Absolutely not.
Okay. And so it is just for the tree purposes that you're going to farm it?
Well, the trees are going to stay there. And then I also have the old field pasture grass. It's got some shrubs growing in it that I'm planning to remove. But there are no farm buildings. There's no barn. There's no hog house. There's no chicken coop. There are not going to be any animals. There haven't been any animals on the farm since my grandfather was alive, and he died in 1962.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Other folks in the courtroom? Seeing no hands raised, I'll turn to the people on Zoom. And again, I can't see how many are on there, but other than Mr. King, any folks want to ask Mr. King questions? Click that raise hand icon, please. Jonathan, see any? All right. Any redirect you'd like to ask your witness?
Just
Ms. Fogel.
briefly, Judge. Mr. King, there were questions related or comments made in relation to not seeing any farming at the property. When you're involved in the CRP program, there's not going to be heavy farm equipment or anything of that nature that people are used to seeing when we think farming. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's correct. Now, a person might mow it occasionally. You can't mow it when birds are nesting, but to keep weeds down, a person could mow it.
But there's no true like crops to harvest like we would see all around us here in Illinois when it's corn harvesting time or something like that. Is that correct?
That is correct.
That's all I have, Judge.
What do you do with the vegetation that is mowed down, Mr. King?
Well, it typically would just lay there. I have burned it in the past. And that requires a permit from the EPA, and I need a crew, but I haven't burned it in a number of years.
Okay, thank you. All right. Ms. Foker, do you have any witnesses other than Mr. King?
No other witnesses, Judge.
Okay. Folks in the courtroom, well, no. Ms. Hinkle, would you like to testify? Okay. No, you can, fine, right there's fine. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
And I hope you get started. State your name.
Alice Hinkle.
Ms. Hinkle, what is your business or occupation?
I'm the zoning administrator for Lee County.
And in that capacity, would you just generally describe your duties?
Administering the zoning code for Lee County, including zoning hearings, building permits, addressing, things of that nature.
And does a request for a map amendment fall under your purview?
Yes, it is a type of zoning hearing petition.
And with regard to this petition, the King Family Partnership petition, I assume you've reviewed that petition and have some comments you'd like to make?
Yes.
Please.
So in reviewing the petition for, would you like me to go through my exhibits first?
Sure.
Okay. Go through my exhibits first. Zoning Exhibit 1, I have a petition of map amendment that was filed on June 10th, 2025. And I have that as Zoning Exhibit 1. Zoning Exhibit 2 is the amended petition for map amendment filed June 16, 2025. Zoning Exhibit 3 is proof of posting the notice for public hearing at the subject parcel on July 23rd, 2025. Zoning Exhibit number 4 is notice to District 2 County Board members, Lee County Health Department, Lee County Engineer and Highway Supervisor, Lee County Soil and Water Conservation District Office, Dixon Township Supervisor, Dixon Township Highway Commissioner, and the City of Dixon. Zoning Exhibit 5 is a copy of map number 6, future land use from the Lee County Comprehensive Plan. zoning exhibit 6 is an email from Dixon City Attorney Rob Lesage regarding the outcome of the city's hearing on the petition. And zoning exhibit 7 is the City of Dixon's resolution objecting to the petition of J.W. King Family Limited Partnership for map amendment.
Is that the entirety of your exhibits?
Those are all my exhibits.
All right. And let's go through those exhibits and you put a little more meat on those bones.
Sure thing. Which ones would you like more?
You tell me. Unless you feel they speak for themselves, and then that's fine too.
So I think zoning exhibit number 1 and number 2 speak for themselves. The proof of posting, I have photos of the notice and the sign that were posted at the property. And I have an original and 3 copies of each exhibit. Exhibit number 4 speaks for itself. Exhibit number 5, the future land use zoning map. And I do have a larger version here in the courtroom where I have identified the subject parcel. This map identifies that area, the future land use for that parcel specifically is residential. Zoning exhibit number 6, the email from Rob Lesage states, at last night's city council meeting, the city council voted to object to the recent petition filed on behalf of J.W. King Family Limited Partnership for map amendment in respect to 1215 Institute Boulevard. I will provide the formal notices required under 55 ILCS 5/5-12014. Zoning Exhibit 7 is a copy of their resolution in which the city objected to the petition. Okay, so when looking at this parcel, as of right now, this is planned residential, future residential. While Mr. King feels that it's not being utilized as residential, that is part of our comprehensive planning, given its proximity to the city of Dixon. Additionally, in Lee County, if he is trying to preserve the agricultural use of the property, the zoning classification of R1 would be more appropriate, in that R1 does allow agricultural activities to take place, but the property would remain residential. By having that parcel under R2, limits the possibilities of the use of the parcel. Agricultural district is a fairly relaxed district with a number of uses that would be in conflict with the neighborhoods that are currently existing in proximity to the parcel. It would be my position that the request for agricultural be denied. However, I would be more agreeable to a classification of R1 as an alternative. I have nothing further.
Questions, this witness, Ms. Foker?
Ms. Hinkle, with regard to your exhibit number 6 and number 7, was there any reason stated by the city of Dixon in either of those exhibits as to why there was an objection?
Not in Exhibit 6. It does not appear that the city of Dixon stated the reason for their objection.
Thank you. When you indicate that the future use of the land is residential, can you explain that to me?
So from a planning perspective, and this is common with municipalities, they look to future growth of that municipality. Typically, the areas within 1.5 miles of that municipality that extend out into the county, the city gets some say in it. That's why this petition did have to go before the city of Dixon before it came here tonight. It is purely a planning mechanism. It's how the city guides growth of certain uses within their municipality. Given where the county meets the city is all established residential district. Therefore, in our planning of this area, it makes sense that we would project that it would be future residential, giving its proximity to the existing residential of the city.
Am I correct that the property located directly west of the subject property is zoned Ag 1?
You are correct.
And so doesn't that go against what you just indicated with regard to anywhere the county and city properties touch?
So that parcel is owned by the Dixon Park District. It is public park land. Therefore, we give it the lowest zoning classification, which is agricultural in Lee County.
I have nothing further, Judge.
Would you please describe to me other than, is the Park District property contiguous?
Yes.
How about the other adjoining or nearby properties? Can you describe what is around this parcel?
North of the parcel is zoned ag, and it appears to be actively farmed with some type of row crop farming. The areas to the south of the parcel and the southeast is under city jurisdiction. And directly east and kind of to the north is another residentially R2 zone parcel that appears to be actively farmed in some type of row crop farming as well.
How about to the?
Oh, I'm
the
sorry.
cardinal direction you haven't covered is
To the west
west.
is the Dixon Park District property. It is zoned ag and it is used for public parkland.
Okay. Do you have an opinion, yes or no, about how the requested amendment would affect property values?
Yes, the uses allowed under the ag district there are a number of uses that are allowed in the ag district that would not occur in the residential district. Some of them are related to livestock farming, solar, wind, agricultural chemicals, things of that nature. Those are my concerns, given that
this parcel is located immediately adjacent to the city, I think that opening that door to agricultural could lead to a lot of conflict within that area potentially.
And I'm not trying to be difficult, but regardless of conflict, do you have an opinion how it would affect property value prices?
Depending on the agricultural use, I think there could be a negative impact on the property values. But it would depend on what that type of agricultural use is.
Do you know any reason that the property is suitable, is not suitable for ag one? The land, let me rephrase that. The land is not suitable for ag.
I guess I can't speak to it. I don't have any report on soils or anything of that nature.
Is it your understanding that the property is not vacant in the sense that there's been some testimony about some Airbnb or VRBO? Is that true to the best of your knowledge?
Yes,
Is that in the old farmhouse? What Mr. King describes as the old farmhouse?
I believe so. There's only one residence on the property to my knowledge.
Okay. Based on my questions, anything you want to follow up with, Ms. Folkert?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Henkel, anything else you want to follow up with once I asked you those questions?
Is anyone else gonna?
I'm gonna.
Oh, okay, yeah, no, I don't believe so.
Okay, questions from folks in the courtroom of Ms. Henkel regarding her testimony? Raise your hand. All right. State for the record, I see no hands raised. How about the Zoomers? Not boomer Zoomers, but the regular Zoomers. If you have a question of Ms. Henkel, would you hit the raise hand icon button, please? All right, seeing none. Any rebuttal evidence, Ms. Folkert?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Closing statements, public comment. Now's the time for folks to say how they feel, what I ought to do or not do and why.
Before we get there, Judge, just, I understand in talking with Ms. Lane prior to the proceedings that she had some evidence to present. I'm not sure procedurally
Oh,
if and when you want to do that, but I would think I would save
That's
the
fair
closing
enough.
until after that.
thank you. Just that step. Okay, Ms. Lane, do you have some evidence you want to present? All right. Do you have witnesses other than yourself?
No.
Do you wish to testify?
Yes.
Want to raise your right hand? Solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, or affirm that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
And I'll help you get started. State your name.
Kathy with a K, Lane, Lane,
And Ms. Lane, where do you reside?
1302 Institute Boulevard, Dixon, Illinois.
And with whom do you reside?
Myself,
And how long have you lived there?
21 years,
What type of structure do you live in?
ranch.
Ranch house?
Yes.
And how close, in just general terms, how close is that to this 1215 Institute?
About 20 feet across the road.
All right. I don't want to run your presentation beyond that. You tell me let's stick to facts. You can give a speech later,
Yes,
but stick to facts and tell me what you know or don't know about this piece of property.
absolutely. I have 5 different exhibits,
Okay.
and I have copies for you guys. I don't know if you want me to give it to you now or if you want to wait till
Well, I'd like to have them, so as you,
I
as
can
you,
absolutely
as
do
you
that.
testify, you can describe them and I can look at them.
Okay, I will give one to Darla. And is it okay if I approach it then?
Absolutely. Is that all 5 of them or just one? Might as well. Then you won't have to keep walking up here. For fear that your Post-it notes are going to fall off, I'm going to write right on your. Thank you so much. All right, why don't you start with your exhibits and,
Sure. Exhibit 1 is actually from my house looking across the street.
to what direction? From what direction to what direction?
Let me see. It would be across the street. It would be east, right? Yeah.
Looking east? Okay.
Yes, looking east. I'm looking at, yes, looking east. And I have to look at left and right.
Okay,
And you can see from that picture that there has not been any trees that have been taken down, as Mr. King had stated. You will also see in Exhibit 2 that's looking north to south on Institute.
well, wait a minute, wait a
Oh, I'm
minute.
sorry.
That's okay. I just can only go so fast. And once you
Oh.
took the Post-its off, now I don't know what,
Oh, do you want them back?
no, but
'Cause
I'm
I
going to
had to
ask
look
you,
into-
when you say Exhibit 2, is that the one with the telephone, sort of telephone pole and on the right middle of the picture?
Yes.
So that's Exhibit 2. And I'll call that L Exhibit 2. That stands for lane.
Okay.
All right, go ahead. What does it show?
It shows again that there has been no trees taken down at all, as stated by Mr. King.
Okay,
Exhibit 3 is where the VRBO is at, and it's actually in the driveway. You can see,
so let's make sure we're talking about the same picture. Oh, I see. You wrote number 3 on that one.
Yep.
Okay. That's, what is that? The VRBO
That's where the-
yard?
yes, that's the driveway of the VRBO. And as you can see within that picture as well, that there is trees still up. There is no foliage taken down. It's just a lot of trees that are still there.
Okay, next.
Exhibit 4 is looking south on Institute Boulevard from Steinman Street, because where the trees are at, it goes behind some of the places on Steinman. You will also see that there is no foliage or trees taken down.
The road that's shown, is that still Institute though?
Yes,
Okay.
Institute, yes.
Yep. And number 5?
And number 5 is also looking south on Institute, showing from Steinman Street, you can get a little bit more view of what the foliage is, including the trees. And again, you don't see any trees taken down.
Okay. You have any other exhibits?
No,
All right. Anything else you want to testify about?
no.
Right. Cross-examination, Ms. Booker?
Ms. Lane, your exhibit number 3, just to clarify that, you were standing in the driveway of the VRBO when taking the picture?
Yes,
I don't see a driveway in the picture, is
Oh.
that correct?
yes,
That is just the yard next to the driveway. is that
Correct.
When I look at this picture, there does appear to be some brush or trees in the background in the middle. You're indicating those were not trees taken down, is that correct?
correct.
And with regard to exhibit number 4, on the very left side, I do see a tree stump. Is it your indication that that tree was not taken down?
That actually is a tree. If you would look at that, which was interesting because all of that area, that's actually what the city took down. Because what I found out is that the city actually mows 15 feet into the land where Mr. King's property is at, because that's their responsibility. So the city actually took that down, not Mr. King.
Tree stump, when you're indicating no trees have been taken down, that tree stump was taken down by the city.
By the city, correct. There is no trees taken down by Mr. King.
And all of these pictures were taken if you, either on Institute Boulevard or in the area of what Mr. King referred to as the farm. Is that
Correct.
You do understand that the piece of property we're talking about stretches 79.22 acres. Is that correct?
Correct.
So these pictures only represent a small portion of that acreage, isn't that correct?
Correct.
So it's fair to then assume that if there were trees taken down, they may not have been in your viewpoint from Institute. Is that correct?
Correct.
I have nothing further.
Ms. Hinkle?
I have no questions.
Folks in the courtroom, questions of Ms. Lane? Raise your hand. Folks on Zoom, other than Mr. King, questions? Hit the raise hand icon. All right, anything you want to add based on the questions just Ms. Foker asked you?
No.
Okay. I apologize for skipping over you. Any other folks in the courtroom want to present evidence? How about folks on Zoom? Anybody on Zoom want to present evidence? Hit the raise hand icon. None? Okay, no, seeing no one, time for closing arguments or public comment? You may, Ms. Foker.
Wait, absolutely.
According to section 10-2D-4 of the Lee County Code, which covers the amendment due process standards, the Board of Appeals has to consider the following standards and make findings with regard to those standards when evaluating a map amendment. There are 8 such standards that are addressed within that Lee County Code section. The first being the existing uses of the nearby properties. We heard through testimony of Ms. Hinkle what those uses are with regard to all of the pieces of property, including 2 of which to the north and the west, which are already zoned Ag 1 and are being used for agricultural purposes. There are 3 other sections, we'll say southwest, southeast, and directly south, that are under the purview of the city and are subdivisions within the city limits. And then we have the parcel to the east, which is zoned R2 according to Ms. Hinkle, but very much being used for agricultural purposes. We're here because we are zoned R2, but very much being used for agricultural purposes. And that map amendment fits those surrounding uses, 2 full sides being agricultural use, the third being zoned R2, but also agricultural use, such that when we look at the existing use, we very much fit within an Ag 1 request that we're making. The second standard is the extent property values will be diminished by any zoning restrictions. We're of the opinion that this one's not applicable because use has been established here for 20 plus years. There's not been any evidence of any sort of diminution of the property values that have been demonstrated, experienced, testified to. And by Mr. King's testimony, he's simply trying to keep doing what he's been doing under an appropriate zoning category. The third standard is the extent to which the destruction of property values promotes the public health, safety, and welfare. Again, we don't believe that property values are impacted here, and we would go so far to say is we're thinking that we are promoting public health, safety, and welfare. Mr. King himself testified to the trees in the area, the oxygenation that comes from that. No noise issues, no odor issues, no traffic complaints. He is a good neighbor. The property makes him a good neighbor. The property's been enrolled in the CRP program with the USDA for 40 years by my math, which I've demonstrated is questionable tonight, but that's a long time. And he wants to be able to continue to do that with the proper zoning classification. It's not currently being farmed and has not been farmed for crop purposes for many years since his own grandfather had passed. And he recognizes that the better use of the property is under the CRP. He didn't want the chemicals. He didn't want that sort of use for the property. Not to mention, it's a struggle to find someone to farm a little piece like this. But specifically, he had issues with the chemicals. He's gone organic, he's gone natural. He is preserving that land. Standard number 4, the gain to the public versus the hardship to the individual property owner. We believe the gain to be high. No hardships have been experienced. Nothing is anticipated. He's simply asking to do what he's been doing and what his family has been doing for 110 years. Much to his surprise that the zoning didn't match with that. It has been actively used for agricultural purposes for 110 years. Standard number 5, the suitability of the subject property for the zoned purposes. Again, very suitable. It's already being used for that purpose and has been for 110 years pursuant to Mr. King's testimony. Standard number 6, the length of time the property has been vacant as zoned, considered in the context of land development in the vicinity of the subject property. Again, it's been used for agricultural purposes for 110 years. Mr. King himself has indicated he has no intention of developing it, and financially it's not a feasible option, nor would he want to, because of the cost prohibitions that come with that. And more importantly, he's indicated it's been a family farm for 110 years, and he wants to be able to carry that forward to keep that farm in his family. Standard number 7 is the compatibility of the present and proposed classification with the comprehensive plan. We understand the city of Dixon has objected to the map amendment. There was no reason stated for that objection. In hearing from Ms. Hinkle here tonight, I understand there is a plan for future residential use, but that plan has never been instituted with this land, this agricultural use that has been going on for 110 years. And while that use may not fit in the city plan, this is King family property. It is held by the King Family Trust. And they should be allowed to continue their use that they've been doing for 110 years and do so under proper classification. The final standard is whether there's a public need in the neighborhood for the proposed use. And I don't want to just raise my flag over here and wave it, in such fashion, but on any level, whether we're talking about local, state, federal, there's always a need for agriculture. It is the very heart of the land that we live in. And that's what Mr. King is here for. He's asking to be able to continue that tradition that he's carried on with his family for the past 110 years. And the property should be appropriately amended to match that agricultural use such that it is Ag 1 versus the current R2.
But is there some unstated proposed threat to take that present use, the way it's used now, take that away?
By Mr. King's testimony, there has not been that he's aware of. However, I guess now hearing the comprehensive plan, perhaps there's something there.
Good, thank you. Thank you. Closing arguments, Ms. Lane.
As I stated earlier, I've lived there for over 21 years, and there has never been a time that I've ever heard or seen any operation whatsoever of trying to take down those trees to harvest nuts. I'm concerned that Mr. King, who is an attorney, stated that he did not know that it was changed from ag to residential, when by law, I would think that he would have to be notified of such. We are all concerned in our neighborhood. I'm sure that there are other people besides myself that are on the Institute Boulevard area. And I did talk to 2 people who were not able to be here tonight that are just as concerned. We are concerned about whether or not, if Mr. King, God help me, passes away, or the family decides that they want to sell the farm, which they call the farm, which is a VRBO, that would actually end up, if being agriculture, would then end up being agricultural. And that is a grave concern that we have, because just because Mr. King says today that he's not wanting to do that does not mean that that could not happen in the future. We are also very concerned about our value of our homes. It's very nice neighborhood. And as we all value our homes and what money that we put into our homes, we don't want to lose the value of our homes just because of going to agriculture rezoning.
But has there been any evidence, any competent evidence?
I
that
cannot
I've
tell you.
heard that would diminish your property values or those of your neighbors?
I don't think that we could say that until it's actually there.
So you didn't call a real estate agent or a real estate value person to testify?
No, I did not.
Okay. All right.
However, there has been other people within the city of Dixon who have had those kind of situations happen. So we can only go by what we've heard, not necessarily from a real estate agent. And I believe that if he's already reportedly doing what Mr. King said he's doing in regards to harvesting nuts, Is that not something he can continue to do now with the zoning the way it is and keep it the way it is without having to go ag? Because he was talking about this CRP program. I'm not sure why anything would need to change. Thank you.
You. Ms. Hinkle, anything you want to say?
Yes, Mr. King has testified that based on the Lee County's definition of ag, none of those activities are currently occurring at the property. He has not identified what the need is for this change at this point in time. He is not getting any pressure from the county because his use is not compliant. There's nothing stopping him from what he is currently doing to continue on doing that. Again, a comprehensive plan is a plan designed to look towards the future. So we have to plan accordingly. It makes sense that municipalities will grow around the edges periodically. The city of Dixon's actually getting ready to potentially annex in the Park District property. So again, the city is growing to that area. It is my position that agricultural is not appropriate given our comprehensive plan. If Mr. King would prefer to go to a use that allows agricultural, I would recommend an R1, which would allow him to conduct agricultural uses, but the district would remain residential.
Are you suggesting I have the power to do that?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. Are you suggesting I would have the power, should I choose to do that? To change it instead of to ag 1 to R1?
I would think that would have to be by agreement of the petitioner. I am not clear on that.
Ms. Folkers, you want to chime in on that?
I don't.
And I apologize for keep putting an S on the end of your name. There's a family with a lot of folks in Morrison that have an S on Folker.
I've heard a lot worse, Judge, so no worries. With regard to that issue specifically, that is something I would have to research in terms of authority to do that. I don't know off the top.
Let me ask you this. Do you know of any rule of law other than lawyer talk about res judicata, blah, 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 or ordinance or statute or case law that would prohibit, if circumstances materially change, it would prohibit Mr. King from coming back and filing another petition for map amendment? I mean,
For the same map amendment or an R1?
either one.
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay. How about you? Do you know of any prohibition? All right, thank you. Well, this has been very interesting. I'm going to take it under advisement and write a very short, I hope, decision. Thank you all for your presentations, and I will deliver that to Ms. Henkel when I have the opportunity, the time to get it done, and she will do with it what she has to do. Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
And after an hour and 10 minutes, it's break time until about 20 after. Give exhibit list, Alice. 1647, the petition of Donald and Annette Early it's an amended petition for map amendment. And I assume the Earlys are here? There they are. Okay. It's your burden to go forward. However, did you have some motion you wanted to make, Ms. Henkel?
Yes, with this petition, my motion would be to amend to, my apologies, let me back up. The current petition states that the request for map amendment is to go from the R2 Single Family Residential District to the Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District. I would like to make a motion to amend that petition to go from an R2 Single Family Residential to an R1 Rural Residential District.
A motion to amend the amended petition. From R1, R2 to R1, is that right?
Correct.
All right, Earlys, do you have any objection to, what, one at a time? You're not a unit. Donald, do you have any objection to that? Annette? Okay, how about those assembled? Anybody have an objection to that? Raise your hand if you do. How about we got anybody left on Zoom? Folks on Zoom, if you have an objection to that request to amend, would you please hit the raise hand icon? You guys got to tell me if somebody raises their hand.
I would.
Mr. Allen, do you have an objection? Mr. Allen, if you'd unmute your speaker, I think it says on the Zoom screen.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, can. Good for you.
Well, it was going to be agricultural, now R1. I don't know if I have an objection. I don't know what the difference.
Do you have any objection to amendment requesting
Oh, I see.
from going from R2 to Ag 1 and instead from R2 to R1?
I don't have an objection to them wanting to change their amendment, no.
Okay, thanks. All right, Earlys, I assume you want to present some evidence, so I don't know who's running the show, Donald or Annette, or both? You must be Donald. You want to raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear the testimony you're about to swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
I'll help you get started. State your name.
My name is Donald Early.
And Mr. Early, where do you reside?
Reside at 602 River Lane, Dixon, Illinois.
602 River Lane, Dixon. And with whom do you reside?
I reside with my wife and my two children, Annette, Brenna, and Callan.
And how long have you lived there?
Right about 10 years.
Would you describe the structure in which you live, please? Just generally, you don't have to give.
House.
House?
Yeah.
You own it?
Yes.
I'm sorry, I just can't. You got to keep your voice up, right?
Yes.
Thanks.
You raised this up.
All right. And with regard to that property, how big a parcel is it on?
It's
about
a little over 4 acres.
And other than your home, can you describe just again generally what's on that 4 acres?
Besides the house, there is a pool behind the house and there's a 40 by 40 shed next to the house.
And for what use is the shed presently,
Um,
to what use is it presently put?
Not agricultural. It's more get-togethers. I have woodworking equipment in there, just self-use, personal use.
So a man cave plus a social,
That is exactly what
social-
it is. It is a man cave.
plus a
without-
social hall?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, and other than structures on it, what are there, is it all grass?
It is
all trees?
mostly trees surrounding our property.
And adjoining your property on various sides, do you think you're going to explain
Yes.
generally cardinal points of the compass, what's around you?
Okay. North of us would be the commercial property of Mr. Allen. East of us,
Wait a minute. Commercial property doesn't help me
Okay.
very much.
a commercial property.
Well, it doesn't help me very much. What is it?
It's pasture right at the moment.
I'm sorry,
Pasture.
pasture.
Yep. To the east, directly to the east of us is the Bobcat dealership. And then Granny Rose Animal Shelter.
Wait a minute, I can't write as
It's okay.
fast as you can talk. And what,
That is directly east.
Yeah, Bobcat dealership
Bobcat.
and
Granny Rose, an animal shelter.
Granny Rose
Yes.
Animal Shelter. Okay.
Southeast is a car dealership.
Okay.
And directly south would be a church. And that would go south, southeast with their property.
Say again.
That would go south, southwest, I'm sorry, with that property. And then directly west of us is timber, which would then be adjoining residential.
Flesh out what you mean by that.
There's timber between our properties. It's my timber, part of their timber, but basically the
Then-
two residentials will butt up.
And then residential beyond.
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Hinkle, would you refresh my recollection what the difference between R2 and R1 is?
R2 is single-family residential district, and R1 is rural residential district.
All right. Mr. Early, you want to describe for me the motivation behind your request to go from R2 to R1?
Yes. My daughter races, barrel races, and about a year ago, we purchased a horse with the intent in our future to bring that horse to our property. We are currently boarding the horse in Amboy at our trainers, where we have to go once or twice a week for Brenna to do training and to help care for the horse. We want to bring him to our property in order for her to be able to care for him and be with him and to be able to train more. I guess I'm just going to kind of read what I had written down here, if that's fine.
Sure.
Okay.
But I want you to understand, you're under oth right now. If
Okay.
you want to give a speech or public comment at the end,
At the
that's
end?
great, but
Okay.
you're not under oath.
Okay, well, what our purpose is now is to get a structure, a shed, which I would call Exhibit 1. I have a picture of it.
Great, would you?
Can I bring that?
Yeah.
And I'm also going to bring Exhibit 2, which I would call the petitions, which we have had signed from family, friends, all Lee County residents, and mostly all of our neighbors that touch our property. Petitions that
Thank you. Thank you.
We did a Facebook post asking people for support, seeing if anyone had problems with what we were trying to do. And we had, basically, we've not had any objections to any of this, what we were trying to do. We want to bring a 24 by 24 shed, which is in the picture. That is, the only difference with the shed, it would be, the bottom trim would be wood to protect the horse more. And it would be the same color as our house and our current shed, so it would match the property. And the purpose would be for housing for the horse and for storage of hay and equipment and stuff.
So that would be another structure in addition to this 40 by 40.
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
And prior to knowing we were zoned R2, we had already removed some trees between our property and the north adjacent property. Then when we went to get our permit to try to do everything the correct way, we were told that we were R2 and we were not allowed to have the horse. So we started filing the petition with Alice, talking about what we need to do to make this happen for us. Just recently, I believe it was this week, Alice brought to us the chance of R1 versus Ag 1, and we were none aware of that until this week. And we, basically anything we can do that will allow us to have our horse and
That's
have
kind of a
that.
speech. That's kind of a
Okay.
speech. Let's save that for the end.
Okay, so that's, I mean, that's what we're here to do, and that's, I guess, what we're trying to do. We feel we have a big enough property for that.
Okay, thank you. Would you, I'm thinking of questions as you're talking. Can you tell me with some reasonable accuracy, how close is the nearest single-family house as you went around the circle and identified those various?
Can I ask my wife?
No, I want you to, you're under oath. Your
Okay.
wife- Your wife's
would-
not under oath.
I would say 500 to 600 feet.
And how many houses would you guess, single-family residences, are there within, we make up a distance? Quarter mile. Which is about 1,200, 1,300 feet.
Yeah.
Just guess.
In that subdivision behind us, there's probably 10-ish houses, 8 or 10 houses. And then once you cross the street behind the church, I don't know if that would be still in that quarter-mile range, but there's a little subdivision over there.
Okay. But those houses are
15
shielded by the church that's in,
The church, yes.
interrupts the
Yes,
flow of residential housing, correct?
yes. We are not in a subdivision based on where we are.
You said to the west is timber and then residential beyond that.
Yes.
How many houses would you guess are in that residential?
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay.
There might be 8 or 10. It goes back on a road.
Okay.
There's only 2 properties, I believe, that are residential that touch our property.
Okay. Anything you want to add, Mr. Early? Not
Facts?
speeches,
None.
not speeches,
No.
facts.
Nothing on my
Okay,
side.
questions this witness, Ms. Hinkle.
I have none at this time.
All right, I thought of some more, Mr. Early. Do you have an opinion that you can give a foundation for of the extent to which property values would be affected by this change from R2 to R1?
I do not feel this would affect any property around us at all.
And on what do you base that?
Based on, you cannot really see any houses, any other properties next to us. The shed, the structure, the horse would really not even be visible from the road per se. You can see maybe the back edge of it.
Do you see
Remove it.
any gain to the public,
Any gain?
any gain to the public from changing the zoning from R2 to R1?
No.
You see, do you have an opinion whether there's a public need in the neighborhood for the proposed use?
A public need for what we're trying to do?
That's what the ordinance says.
I don't see how that would,
Okay.
there's no need
Thank you.
for it.
All right. Okay. Any folks in the courtroom, first of all, that have any questions of Mr. Early? Seeing nobody raise their hand. How about you people that are Zoomers? Anybody have any questions? Hit the raise hand icon, please. All right. Oh. Mr. Allen, Mr. Allen, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions of Mr. Early?
Well, I'm not quite sure about the protocol of. but I
Well, he
do
just
have-
testified. Do you have any questions you want to ask him about the testimony he gave?
No, my
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
Further witnesses, Mr. Early, you.
On facts, no.
Yep, okay. Ms. Henkel, do you want to testify?
Did you have another witness? Was Brenna going to speak
She
tonight?
wanted to speak, but that's more of
Oh, okay.
a testimony, I guess
Yep,
you would say?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thanks. You can sit down.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'm up.
You're up.
Okay.
Solemnly swear testimony or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Yes.
Since it's a different record, we'll go over the same things. What's your name? What's your occupation? What are the duties of your office?
I'm Alice Hinkle. I'm the zoning administrator for Lee County. My job is to administer the zoning code for the county, which includes overseeing zoning petition hearings, such as map amendments, variances, special uses.
All right. In that capacity, have you become familiar with the petition filed by the Earlys?
Yes.
And what do you know about that petition? What do you know and what have you done?
Yes. So I'll start with my exhibits.
Sure.
Exhibit 1 is a petition for map amendment filed June 5th, 2025, in which the Mr. and Mrs. Earlier were requesting to go from the R2 district to the Ag 1 district. That did have a hearing date of July 3rd. Because of hearings with the city, we had to amend the petition to include or to advise of the new date. So exhibit number 2 is the amended petition for map amendment. And the only change between this document and the original is the hearing date. Exhibit number 3 is the certificate of publication in the Dixon Telegraph on July 3rd, 2025. Exhibit number 4 is a list of the adjacent parcel owner information who were to be served with notice of the public hearing per statute. Exhibit number 5 is a copy of the certified mailing receipts and green cards for all of the adjacent property owners. Zoning exhibit number 6 is photos of the property, the address sign, the zoning petition sign, and a copy of the notice that were posted at the property on July 23rd, 2025. Exhibit number I think I got my numbers off here. Sorry about that. Nope. Exhibit number 7 is copies of the letters to District 1 board members, the Lee County Highway and County Engineers Office, the Lee County Health Department, Lee County Soil and Water Conservation District Office, Palmyra Township Supervisor, Palmyra Township Road Commissioner, and the City of Dixon Planning Commission. Exhibit number 8 is a copy of map 6 from the Lee County Comprehensive Plan, which is for future land use. Exhibit number 9 is a copy of the letter from Palmyra Township Supervisor, in which I will summarize. It states, therefore, please accept this letter of no objection for petition number 25P 1647 for rezoning from R2 Single Family Residential to Ag 1 Rural Agricultural District from the Palmyra Township and the recommendation to the Lee County Zoning Hearing Officer. Exhibit number 10 is a copy of an email from City Attorney Rob Lesage, in which he states, the City Council voted not to object to the recent petition filed by Donald and Annette Early for map amendment in respect to 602 River Lane. So let's go back to how we got to where we are. When Mr. and Mrs. Early found out that they could not have the horse, they wanted to know what their options are. I had concerns bringing any type of map amendment forward due to the issue of spot zoning. We were looking at the agricultural district, and that is what they decided to pursue in their petition. During the course of the various hearings before Palmyra Township and the City of Dixon, the county was asked to look into some way that we can kind of come together with the city to deal with these properties that are outside city limits but are within the 1.5 miles. Ag zoning is not what they want to see within that 1.5 miles for planning purposes. It introduces the potential for a lot of uses that are not compatible with a city. So in my research, that brought us to the R1 district. R1 district is the lowest restricted district in the residential districts. The main difference between R1 and R2 is the allowance of agriculture in the R1. Agriculture, as we heard in the prior hearing, is not allowed in the R2. And that is why they weren't able to get a permit for their horse stable. Couple of the restrictions listed under the Lee County Code for R2, the agricultural uses in the R1 district shall not include the disposal or feeding of garbage, or the confinement or raising of poultry or livestock within 300 feet of any dwelling except the dwelling of the owner and/or the lesser of the lot. Additionally, private kennels and stables are permitted as accessory uses in the R1 district, but may not be located within 300 feet of any dwelling except the dwelling of the owner and/or the lesser of the lot. In looking at what the Earlys are trying to do, which is to bring a horse to their property, I feel that the R1 is a more suitable option for this property. Part of that is the comprehensive plan future land use map. Again, I have a larger version here in the courtroom with the property identified if anyone wants to look at it. It is clearly indicated to be residential as the future land use. So therefore, there are concerns with both the county and the city as far as introducing an ag into that area. Couple other requirements of the Ag 2 or the R1 district is the lot size must be a minimum of 2 acres, which they do meet. In meeting with the Earlys earlier this week, we looked at the area where they're proposing to place the stable, and it will be more than 300 feet away from the nearest dwelling. And that is all I have.
Okay, questions of this witness, Mr. Early? How about us, those assembled in the courtroom? Anybody got a question, Ms. Hinkle? If you want to raise your hand, please. How about Zoom? Anybody on Zoom got a question of Ms. Hinkle? Okay. Excuse me a minute. How about further testimony from folks in the courtroom? Who wants to be put under oath and testify to facts? Raise your hand. Okay, seeing none. How about on Zoom? Anybody want to be put under oath and testify to facts? Either turn your video on or hit raise hand. Give me some signal you want to be heard. Okay. All right. I guess that closes the evidence. So, Mr. Early, I'll just start with you because you're the proponent. You want to give any closing arguments, public comments? You want to convince me what I should do or not do and why I should or shouldn't do it?
I'll just kind of read what I had written originally, which we've talked about a little bit. Our purpose for being here is to try to get our property rezoned in order to get our horse back home for our daughter. Almost a year ago, our trainer called us and asked us to come look at a horse, which we had no intentions to start this process yet because we hadn't gotten our property ready. We saw the horse, my daughter rode it, and just seeing her being able to move the horse the way she does, I knew at that point we were buying a horse. So that's how we got started in the
You were
horse world.
hooked, right?
We were hooked. We've been boarding in Amboy at our trainers with the intention of bringing the horse to our property. So we started in March, April, removing trees on the north side of the property in order to make an area for the barn and an area for the horse to run. When we found out we couldn't have this, that led to this whole process of petitioning and being here today. We have currently presented to the township and the Lee County and feel we had good support from both of those, which got us to this hurdle, which is our biggest one. I am a farm kid. I was raised on a farm in Southern Illinois. I always had to get up. I had chores. I had to do things with animals and everything. And I want to be able to give that kind of work ethic and stuff for my children. I want her and my son to be able to get out there and know what it's like to earn something and to put the work in for something versus sitting at home and being on their iPads or electronics. I want them to get out and experience the world. Being able to, and Brenna will talk more about this in a second, but being able to help her with her passions and her dreams, the things she wants to do, having the horse at our property allows her to train and to be with him more often. I don't think I said anything else. Yeah, so basically now we're here trying to get to that next step, being able to bring our horse to the property.
Tell me whenever you're finished.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you. Somebody else want to make comments, speeches? Step on up. You're not under oath. This is just your chance to tell me what I ought to do and why you think I ought to do it.
My name is Brenna Early. I live at 602 River Lane, Dixon, Illinois. We recently have been working on trying to get my horse Tito home until we ran into this zoning issue, which is why me and my family are here to talk to you. Last year, on July 21st, I met Tito. When I first saw him, I knew he would change my life. We currently board Tito in Amboy, where he is cared for and ridden. Going out once to 3 times a week is not easy because my parents work Mondays through Fridays. Having Tito home would not only help us, but help him too. Since he is older, he needs to be ridden more often to keep muscle. Like any other animal, a horse brings chores, which would give me things to do, while also spending time with him. When I see Tito every Thursday at 4 p.m., I feel a little more like myself. He is the highlight of my week, and I don't know if you've ever been around horses or if you've ever had experience, but the connection between a girl and her horse is unbreakable. Sometimes people ask me what it feels like, and my exact words every single time are unicorns, rainbows, and cupcakes. I say this because it reminds me of the girl who had always dreamed of having her own horse. Tito has brought me places I never thought I would experience. He has won me tons of ribbons and checks that I am beyond grateful for. As a teenager, I really struggle having confidence in myself, but Tito has not only made me more confident in barrel racing, but in school, trying new things like FCA, making new friends, and standing right here speaking to the people in this room. I don't think words could explain how much love I have for this horse and for everything that he has done for me and my family. I want to be able to give Tito a place to feel safe and loved, but most of all, a place to call home with me and my family. Thank you.
Thank you. How old are you?
I am 14.
I want to tell you, regardless of what I decide, that was very impressive for a 14-year-old.
Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Speeches? How about Zoomers? Mr. Allen?
Oh, yes, sir. My name's Andrew Allen. I am here on behalf of my mother that owns the property to the north of the Earlys. And I received a letter, one of your exhibits, that talks about the R2 property becoming an Ag 1. I just received this letter a couple days ago. So I had some questions on that. It sounds like there could be a lot of variables. So, but now I'm hearing this R1. I haven't really had a chance to look over all the details and the differences. The time I spent researching the Ag 1, now to the R1, and I've heard the testimony of the, I believe, attorney. I apologize, I forgot her name, but this R1, from what I'm hearing, sounds very more spot on with Mr. Early's intent. And my concerns are, and I don't really feel strongly, but I would like to assure that he's, and I'm sure that he will manage the horse in a neighborly fashion, and I'm all, we're for their ability to have their horse on their property. We don't feel that it will affect us. I would like to be assured that he'll manage the horse in a way that is similar to the rest of his property. He maintains his property very nicely, and I would certainly think that will be the case with this new building and the new tenant of that building, Tito. So that's all I've got to say, I guess.
Great, thank you. All right. That closes the public comment portion.
Could I have
And- Oh, excuse me.
could I give a public comment?
Yeah, certainly may.
To piggyback off of what you were saying earlier, I would like to applaud the Earlys and Brenna for going through this process. They've done a lot of work, and it's been a tricky issue. Initially, I did not have a lot of positive thoughts about this petition, not anything to do with Mr. or Mrs. Early or Brenna or Tito. I have a job to do, which is to enforce our law. With the Ag 1 zoning, that would create spot zoning, which is in direct conflict with our comprehensive plan. However, this R1 zoning will allow them to have the use that they desire, but not create the issue of spot zoning, which is in direct conflict with their plan. And to address Mr. Allen's concerns related to potentially the upkeep of the property with the horse, Being that it is a residential district, there are standards in place to address nuisances such as odor. So they will have to comply with all of the standards for the residential district, including odor. And hopefully that will prevent any potential future nuisance. That is all.
Thank you. So you mean to tell me going from R2 to R1 is not spot zoning? Of course, I don't even know if there's a statute or an ordinance that refers to spot zoning. I've heard it called island zoning.
Yes. It's debatable. In my discussions with the city of Dixon, they did not feel it was spot zoning
Because it stayed within the same general class?
because it stays within the residential classification. And then there are bulk regulations and other standards within those classifications to address issues so that they are more compatible together. The setbacks for the R1 district are 15 feet from the property line, which is the same as the agricultural district. That is specifically to make sure that the potential agricultural uses are further away from the neighboring property. So I feel that the R1 is definitely a more suitable and appropriate fit for this property, given the surrounding uses and what they desire to do.
Okay, thank you. All right, like the last one, I like to write a quick decision because, you know, when you write something out, you think of things that I may not think of when I'm just verbally giving a decision. So I will do that for this case as well and forward it to Ms. Henkel I'll do it when I have time and forward it to Ms. Henkel when I'm done. So have a good night, rest of the night, everybody. Thank you.